In just 7 years, roughly 1 million people died from the Irish potato famine, and over 4.5 million people migrated elsewhere, dooming Ireland to be overlooked and a shell of its former self. But what if we went back in time and avoided the famine? Could Ireland be a global superpower today? In 1841, Ireland just reached 8.18 million people, still greater than today's population by over 1 million. After the potato famine, Ireland's population continued to decline until 1931, almost 100 years later, reaching its bottom of 4.2 million people, when it finally began to rise until it reached 7 million people today. If the famine never happened, the population would probably sit around 30 million, over 4 times greater than it is today. This would place them in 10th place in Europe, behind Ukraine, but ahead of Romania. 80 years after the famine was the Irish War of Independence, which led to the British splitting the state into the Protestant North and the Catholic South in order to respect each side's religion. If the population of Ireland were unchanged by the famine, the Catholics would greatly outnumber the Protestants, nearly 10 to 1, enough to be internally united. Ireland likely wouldn't split into two, and after their independence, they would stay as a united island. With them as a united island, the Irish would keep their industrialized north, and they wouldn't see a decline in their industry or 17.6% unemployment rate. In reality, over 200,000 Irish soldiers fought alongside the British during the First World War. In this scenario, the Irish would have still joined the Allies instantaneously due to their long-lasting strong relationship with the French. The British would still join the war after the Austro-Hungarian invasion of Serbia. The Great War would still be an Allied victory, just like reality. So nothing would dramatically change besides the Irish being involved in writing the treaties of Versailles, thus possibly preventing a second world war and dramatically undermining Hitler's influence, which is based upon blaming the treaty and rally supporters. This means the entire landscape of Europe would be much different. All of the imperial colonies would still be held as well. The League of Nations would still exist, and there would likely have never been any talks of NATO. The United Kingdom was the third country to acquire nuclear power after helping the US with the Manhattan Project. In this alternative world, the UK would be notably less of a world power, and without a second war, it could be questioned if nukes would even be developed to the point that they are today. However, the US didn't develop the Manhattan Project because of the Second World War, but for overall protection and world domination. Without a second war, however, the US never would have bombed Japan, and the atomic weapons would remain a secret. Likely, the UK, France, and other countries would eventually figure out that they could make weapons of mass destruction, but by that point, the US would likely have evolved their bombs to be way more powerful. This is the most likely thing that would happen with the Second World War, but that's boring, and this video is all about Ireland, not the US. Due to Ireland and the USA both having negative pasts with the UK, which would smooth out by World War I, like in our world, but in this alternative universe, we can assume that they would also have scientists working on the Manhattan Project after the Great War, leading the US secretly giving the Irish nukes for a tactical position against Russia. They would continue to develop nuclear weapons in secret. Eventually, they needed more space to test their weapons and finally allowed France into the alliance. Now, the Irish were able to test their nuclear weapons in French Polynesia and Algeria, leading to rapid development of nuclear weapons, strong enough to destroy our entire planet with a single button before the 70s. Today, Ireland's economy is already in 14th place in Europe, with a shrunken population. If their GDP per capita or the economic output per person stayed the same, then their increased economy would reach nearly $1 trillion and place them in 7th place of all of Europe, just behind Spain. It's also likely that those extra people would be able to increase productivity, and their new GDP would be much higher. For simplicity's sake, we'll round this up to $1 trillion exactly. Because of their alliance with the US, whose economy has grown larger thanks to being able to sell more arms during the First World War, Ireland's economy would be even greater than that. The absence of Soviet satellites, the Iron Curtain, and World War II would all prevent the Cold War, but it wouldn't eliminate the potential for conflict. Instead, a new axis of power centered around the nuclear capabilities of the US and Ireland would likely emerge, sparking a Cold War scenario between these two nations, just like reality when the US and the USSR turned on each other over a power struggle. Proxy conflicts and covert operations would become the hallmarks of this alternative Cold War, as both the US and Ireland would both fight for influence over key regions of the world. The threat of nuclear annihilation would undoubtedly prevent a war between the two, but nations all around the world would be forced to pick a side. Overall, without this famine, the entire landscape of our world would look completely different. There would have never been a World War II, and Ireland would have been a very powerful nation with a significantly larger population and economy, and would even host nuclear weapons. It's safe to say that this famine has prevented Ireland from becoming a true hegemon in Europe. And this was all because of this. A potato. Well, that was definitely a different style of video than I've been doing, but let me know if you like this alternative style and I can try and make some more of these. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe too.